Hello, welcome to your Aries full moon happening today, October 20th at technically we're 4 minutes past it. We're like right in the energy at 7:56 a.m. Pacific time. And welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to give you guys some context first. This is concluding a 6-month cycle that you began consciously or unconsciously 6 months ago at the April 11th Aries new moon. And I did put this up over on my Instagram stories. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, watch Natalie, you guys got my notes. I hope you guys could read. I think you can. I like to write in, it's called something. I think it's called like Architect's Daughter or something, like all capitals. Anyway, so hey Troy, welcome. That live stream was called Your Juggernaut Jackpot. And that's because what did start at that time, this new moon in Aries had the sun and the moon in Aries, which is always what you get with a new moon. And the full moon is always, when the moon is super full opposing the sun. So together, it's like it's dark. It's always a dark moon on the new moon. But this one in April had the sun and moon, which makes it a new moon, but also had Mercury in Aries, also had Venus in Aries, and they were all together in a stellium. Chiron was there in Aries as well, but not part really of the stellium. So it was the sun, the moon, both luminaries, Mercury and Venus. That's a lot. That's whatever you were starting, there was a lot of love and focus and intellect, and it was like a powerful new impetus. And there's a lot of it's the spark. To put it very lightly, it really does have a lot to do with, I would say, the vital life force and what it takes to create such a life force. And I want you to think of things such as, starting a business, beginning a new relationship, conceiving a child. All of those things are really, it takes a powerful force to begin and then to sustain and continue all of those things. And that's what you started. There was something with this big, powerful spark in you. Look in that Aries area of life. And the thing about the new moon is that two really cool things were happening. Mercury was in Aries and Mars was in Gemini. And that's what we call mutual reception in astrology. That means that Mars is like the warrior and going over to Mercury's house. And like there's words and books everywhere. And they just kind of want to like dig up stuff and like maybe get pointy or get like, go fight for something or just be very active, very physical exertion. Mars would rather go climb a mountain or rather go swimming or do something with like hiking or something. But they're at Mercury's house, Gemini. So they have to like sit there and read something or learn something or talk about something when they would rather act. Likewise, Mercury, Hermes, the winged messenger, went over to Mars's house in Aries. And, Mercury just wants to read and intellectualize and connect mentally. But there's like swords and daggers on the wall, and there's like sandbags and pits of sand and like all of the hiking stuff and like snowshoes everywhere. Like, and there's not, it's like a shack or it's like a cave or something. And it's not even like a house, and there's nothing to read and there's no one to talk to. So they both were in each other's house. And when you're at someone else's house, you're a house guest. And so you abide by their rules and, their little mannerisms. So the fact that this was happening and that Mars was actually sextiling this new moon at 23 degrees to the 22 degrees Aries new moon means that it was harmonious. That Mars went over to Mercury's house and found something to dig into that was interesting. It's like, okay, this is a book, but it's a book about war. It's a book about the greatest generals known to mankind. It's a book about the greatest warriors of human existence. So I could read that. Mercury went over to Mars's house and said, "Okay, I have to do something, but I'm knitting or I'm sewing or I'm doing something with my hands or I'm doing something that I'm really engaged in. I'm playing guitar and on my fingers like, oh, or I'm the bass, whatever it is." So you had the benefit where your mind and your actions could align. So you started something that you took forward over these last 6 months where you had an idea, you thought on something, and you put action behind it, consciously or unconscious. Oh, hi, hello, welcome. Sun and Venus Cazimi creates your Venus star when in gestation. Oh, Rosie Jane, thank you so much. The Sun and Venus Cazimi, thank you. Another point. Oh, we just had the Mars Cazimi with the Sun and Mercury too. So that starts another. That's a part of a whole synodic cycle of Venus as well. But with this Mars and Mercury, you had, like I said, the mind and actions aligned. You were doing this on some sort of level, and this allowed the energy to be released through action in a very healing way. So thank you, Rosie Jane. That's really I love that that happened at that moment because adding this Venus Cazimi in the mix, you were actually trying to and I have how did I write it down? I had a really good oh gosh, towards understanding what love really is. Um Gosh, holding on to the highest love principle and take with it unconditionally the discipline, the focus, the purging of misplaced love energies and outdated, incorrect ideas about love, and any other myriad obstacles that are sure to be part of your growth toward understanding what love really is. So that speaks to the Venus Cazimi, which just means that Venus is like in the heart of the sun being reborn and like it's a whole thing. So you know, you wanted this, you were doing this, you something was going on with you where you were like, I need to learn, I need to grow, I need to move forward in this. There were Jupiter at the time, or is Jupiter and Aquarius was trining Mars. Love, money, creativity. There's a lot of everything that you want. You created and capitalized on opportunities over the last 6 months to bring you to where you are today, right now, over these next 2 weeks. There's energy, confidence, affection, appreciation. So, um, now Uranus is still kind of squaring Saturn at 9 degrees of Taurus and then Saturn at 12 degrees of Aquarius. So, you know, you're this was you had the benefit of doing something differently. You had to. You were incorporating new behaviors and new behavior patterns at this time. That was part of your spark of vital life force and a new beginning. The only little like hiccup of a thing is that Pluto in Capricorn was squaring this gorgeous new moon. Sorry, was squaring this gorgeous new moon and everything else. So this Pluto in Capricorn is what's coming back now to either bless you or burn you, depending on how you've been channeling and how you've been working through specifically the insecurities and the fears and the lack of courage, the lack of bravery over the past 6 months. You've been challenged to rechannel negative energy into harmony. So, how do you feel like you guys have been doing that? Because you're going to get your results now over the next 2 weeks. And it's okay because you can there's it's never too late to do that. We're constantly learning. We all of these cycles come back around. We're gonna have like 4 Mercury retrogrades next year, so it's like you're you're gonna have other chances to do this. It just depends on where you are in your life right now, what was going on, you know, years ago when similar energies were happening or what have you. So attitude was really really important. There's also this element with Neptune involved at this new moon of fate and destiny being at play. I have this written down. The gift is free will. The catch is that we're bound by the results, aligning with our wills with the universal, and choosing the highest path, the higher road, and listen to our intuition. We are guided and protected. We become stronger. So there was a lot of power operating from this concentrated massing of energy in Aries, where it's a leadership sign. It's the first breath of life. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Um, there's a lot of power here. Lot of power, but also Pluto challenging this new beginning for you. There's likely been issues with authority or institutions or even like your established structures in your life. And whatever comes out of these next 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot of burning down. There's going to be, I'll get to that in a second. There's going to be a lot of like explosions and, how would I put this? Like crises and Yeah, but whatever survives this is meant to last. Whatever survives this, you can really take to the bank. Um, there's also something really unconventional about all this, and that's a part of what you're doing differently. But the thing I'm gonna read you this Pluto squaring the sun and the moon and Venus real quick. Very unconventional, this new beginning. And so I want you to think about just meditate on the past 6 months, what was going on in April, May, June, July, August, September now. Very unconventional. This new beginning is truly not subject to tradition or convention. It can bring eccentricities or aberrations to the fore. Art and relationships, especially, will have this blazing, rapturous quality to it that needs careful, disciplined, purposeful channeling so that it does not consume you unless you are either directing and channeling this energy into a passion project or relationally in your relationships, you are holding on to the highest love principle and take with it unconditionally the discipline, the focus, the purging of misplaced love energies and outdated, incorrect ideas about love and any other myriad obstacles that are sure to be part of your growth toward understanding of what love really is. So if it's a relationship, you both have to want that, the spiritual part of it. Otherwise, it can't be like one person trying to take the high road and trying to teach the other person to do that or inspire the other person to do that. Otherwise, what you'll see is people channeling this energy without even being cognizant or even caring about taking responsibility for directing their own wills. Okay. That leads to obsession, jealousy, hatred, revenge, spitefulness. This is like that bitter old lady energy. This is not ageism. This is not sexism. It's just an expression. Don't be the bitter old lady. Extreme selfishness to win at any and all costs, competition, strife. For those people that are channeling all that negative energy instead of transforming it into harmony and positive expression, their energies are returning now at this full moon to burn them. That is what is burning down anyone now over the next 2 weeks and who has been since this Aries new moon. The obsession, the jealousy, the hatred, the revenge. If you tried any of that, I'm just saying this is karma. This is not this, and all karma is the law of cause and effect. That's all it is. That's all it is. And for you though, that you guys have been here, you watching the live stream, 6 months ago, who seeks self mastery, this energy will return to bless you. There will be something of benefit now and over these next couple of weeks. You could come out of this full moon with a relationship, a passion project, a new hobby, a new passion of anything, or you could ideally come out with character because you know something about yourself that's been purified and forged stronger by fire. This Chiron in Aries has made us really insecure about this area of life. So this new beginning that you were starting, you had the benefit of the mutual reception, you had the benefit of Jupiter trining Mars. So that gave you courage. So your mind and your actions were aligned. And so, you're at a pinnacle peak moment of your bravery and your courage and your self-confidence, your attitudes. I'm going to post the daily bulletin because it like the tarot was so resonant with like the full moon. Um your character that's been purified and forged stronger by fire through overcoming these things. Like I said, when you begin anything new, you have to have courage, you have to have bravery, you have to have faith. No one gets married thinking that they're going to divorce. You have to take that leap of faith. You have to go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. By the time it's fallen, it's bruised, it's overripe. So, whatever you began, you needed courage, you needed bravery, and now you're getting like the results of it. And you just don't want to lose your nerve at the last moment because there's going to be ultimatum energy. It's going to be like people that are giving you ultimatums. That's such a huge red flag. Let me get to, okay. Rechannel negative energy into harmony. Okay, now that's your context for understanding this. Hello, welcome. The light is on. Time to come home, Mark. Hey, that's so sweet. Thank you. Listen, hey all. Hey guys. Okay, so what can we expect? How is this going to play out? So it was already like a big initiation of cosmic energy at the new moon, and now we're at the full moon. So what can we expect as the results? And I'm calling this video the result of truth because Pluto is the focal planet here. So 6 months ago, Pluto was squaring, challenging the new moon. At this full moon, it's all about Pluto because the full moon at the opposite side of the sun is in Aries and opposing the sun, which is conjunct Mars. And it was just a couple weeks ago that we had the Sun Mercury Mars cazimi in Libra. So Mars is now in a house that is the total doesn't it's very weak. Mars cannot find a book about warriors. Mars cannot get outside and get some fresh air. Mars is like strapped to a table with their hands tied behind their back and like having to look and like their eyes are taped open and they have to look in the eyes of someone else and like negotiate and come to a compromise and like when Mars is usually like freaking in the Matrix when Neo and Trinity go into the place to like get Morpheus and they're like all decked out with the ammo and like all the guns and like all the weapons. Imagine that but like stripped of all that. Like that's Mars. Like Mars just wants to like go shoot up the place, go be just take what they want and just like dip, but can't do that. It's very uncomfortable for Mars. So Mars is with the sun, and so Mars now has to take orders from the king. Mars is the warrior, the sun is the king. And the sun being in Libra is wanting that compromise, wanting harmony, wanting everything to just work out and be okay. But this moon in Aries is like bringing to fruition this undeniable need of yours, this instinctual. And here's the thing with the moon squaring Pluto, and Mars squaring Pluto, you may have conflicting instincts. You may have conflicting desires. You may have like a lot of really intense feelings, and you might not know where it's going to go or where it's going to lead or like what's going to happen. You may kind of feel confused about like where your loyalties lie because, like I said, this is a full moon in Aries, and Mars rules Aries. It's the sign of the warrior. But Mars is with the sun in Libra. So it's like very conflicting, it's very dueling. And the full moon is like needing to have its needs met. The full moon is like giving you clarity regarding your emotional expression, giving you clarity regarding what you really cannot compromise on. There are certain things about this that there's room for compromise, and there's certain things that there is no room for compromise. So you're going to have to really balance this awareness of others with your like real nature and desires. So, this Mars and the sun, there's a lot of tension. It can be explosive, especially socially. Like social commitments can just get really tense and really hot, really hot. This can be a tempest in a teacup energy where something has been building and then it just explodes. But once it does, it just kind of calms down like in a few days or like right afterwards. So look at the tension that's been brewing. There's likely been some tension um, somewhere. And I almost call this video win win or end, but that's a little bit too it's a little bit too much, but it's kind of like that. There's like you want this win-win situation or it's going to have to end on some things. You motives really matter here. What are your motives? What are the motives of other people? Make sure you get like what would I say like proof and research. Now if okay, let me help you with this. So change has to happen. This is like a breaking apart energy. So whatever gets broken down, hopefully, are like the uglier expressions of what I described before. The less resistant you are to change, the smoother your experience will be. So, um, like I said, it's really about Pluto, who is very Pluto's the one that's got like this ultimatum type energy. You don't want that in a person to that's not negotiating. Um, you're only going to be empowered to do that if something's been happening. If you've been trying to find harmony, if you've been trying to reach a middle ground, if you've been trying to get a win-win and the other side has been not budging and the other side has been underhanded and the other side has been manipulative or angry, like explosively like temper. when no boundaries have been you're just trying to find the middle ground, and their anger is unjustified, and they're trying to use this anger to manipulate and overpower you in the situation. That's, I would say, the only way that you will be sanctioned to really walk away. And that is because something has been a problem. It's already been a problem for a while. This person's behavior has been a problem. They don't know how to control themselves, or the situation has just gotten out of control, or like the job is going south, whatever it happens to be in your life, that you are empowered to walk away from, because it's not an integrity. It's not real power. It's not real leadership. A leader, and this is what alpha means. Alpha means leader, it means leadership. Being a leader means inspiring others. It means believing in other people. It means empowering other people. Capricorns are born for leadership because they know how to share power in a healthy Capricorn, a high vibrational Capricorn. And this is all of the cardinal signs. This is Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries. So there's all this leadership energy right now. And that's why things are breaking up, because people are going to want to use this leadership. Why does this, I'm sorry, this is like really bothering me. Why is it crooked? People are going to want to use this leadership in a different, in like very toxic, unhealthy ways. And it's just not, it's not sanctioned by the cosmos. It's not sanctioned by the universe. So a real leader will share the power. Capricorns make really great leaders because they share the power. They're powerful figures and they share the power. And then they create other little leaders. Libras are great leaders because they create the win-win situation, because they can be aware of everyone and everyone's needs in like a very mentally detached way, and arrive at a judicious judgment that is good for everyone, that is good for the collective. And Aries is a great leader because they initiate, they start, they have the bravery and the courage to do what no one has done before, to go where no one's gone before, to initiate something that is, that has no track record, that has no data to analyze, that has no risk assessment. So they make great leaders because they lead through their emotional enthusiasm and their confidence. Cancer's a great leader because Cancer's a great leader because they can see people. Cancer's a great leader because they can look at a person and look in their eyes, and they feel that person, and they feel, they have a knack, they have an instinct for picking great people, for knowing where there's talent, for knowing what's going to be successful based on their intuition when they lead with that intuition, and through the depth of their love and their heart and their caring for humanity and for the emotional health and well-being of everyone on the team. So every one of these leadership signs can lead and be alpha, that these are the alpha signs, and lead in this inspiring way that shares power with everyone else. It's not about being better than or good or anything like that. Okay. Now the fixed signs, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, these signs are here to support the leaders and to support the initiatives that start, that begin, because these leadership signs are very project based. They start something and then they want to start something else, and they want to start something else. These fixed signs keep it going. They keep it moving. That's why they're stubborn. And I'm going to give you guys a preview to the Scorpio new moon on November 4th, because if you guys don't resolve this right now at this full moon, it's going to be wild. People are going to be really wild, and it's going to be really, you don't want it to go there. So I'm trying my best to like, let's do this. So those fixed signs, those are the people that can wake up at 5 a.m. and they're in the gym at 5:45 every morning, and they're good at routines, they stick to it. And we need that to continue the good work. We need the betas, the beta males, the beta females, whatever. And those mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, really quick, Sagittarius and Pisces, that's the mutable energy. That's fluid and adaptable, so that we can get out of situations, so that we can get out of projects, so that we can get out of relationships, so that we're open-minded enough to consider something new and different. Because the lower vibration of some of this other energy is that you can't leave when you know you need to go. You can't move on when you know you need to move on. And this is great, like moving on energy, to walk away from is not whatever's not healthy, whatever is not in integrity. And that's what Pluto is going to do. So hopefully, if this is happening like in a relationship way for you guys, that you guys can move away from anything toxic in the connection in the relationship instead of walking away from the relationship itself. Um, but if you haven't been doing the work consciously over the last 6 months, there's probably going to be a crisis that the relationship will not survive because, like I said in the new moon, both people have to want it. Or everybody, if this is like three or more people or two or more people, everyone in the situation has to want the spiritual part, or they're not going to take responsibility. They're not going to care. They're not going to like, it's just not going to, it's going to be very clear to you. You're not going to need me to tell you that this is not going to work. And with that, Pluto is going to bring these abruptly forced changes. This is like fate and destiny. This is a power bigger than ourselves coming into our lives and just like stirring the pot. Okay. Abruptly forced changes. So, all of us, everyone, do not react impulsively because there's an authority, a bigger authority that's going to check you. Okay. And no one wants to get checked. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. Does not feel good. So, you know, bide your time. There may not be a lot that you can do. Likely, you'll be able to get somewhere. You might be able to get some of what you want, but maybe not everything. You may not be able to have everything that you want, and this may feel unfair. Okay, I'm just preparing you for that. We don't want to get into like the victim mentality. We've talked about that, but some of this may feel unfair, and it'll feel unfair because it's out of your control, because it's like because it's out of your hands, and that's where the surrender comes in and the trust. And that's what's difficult about this full moon and about the new moon is that Chiron in Aries is making us feel like insecure and like, oh my god, oh, I can't do it, I can't do it, I'm gonna run away, I can't do it. Oh, and it's like we're not supposed we're supposed to overcome that. We're supposed to use spiritual courage that will develop into spiritual strength when you have the courage to initiate something new and it starts to go and you're like, "Oh my god, it's working." That builds confidence. It's like when you go and start working out. The hardest part is starting. Once you start and you're like, "Oh my god." Oh god, you guys are so sweet. Thank you guys. Thank you, Brad. Oh, and Carl, you sweethearts. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You are. When you start working out, it's like very demoralizing. You're like, oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so that. But once you start, even just like a little bit, you start to get some muscle and you start to see it. You start to see these little itty bitty results, and you're like, oh my God, this feels nice. It feels good. And you keep going. And before you know it, you reach your goals, you find the results that you want. But it needs to start. You need that spark, you need to be inspired, and you need the consistency to keep going. So, you know, if if you react impulsively to this in a negative way, you're going to blow your spot. It's going to blow up. And if you self-sabotage at this full moon over these next 2 weeks, it's okay. Forgive yourself. Understand what you're feeling. Understand what's happening so that you can correct it and do a course correction and learn from it. Just learn whatever you're supposed to learn from it and move forward. Okay? I'm sure I've had T square full moons that I just like but I'm not now. I learned, paid the price, felt my pain. Okay, there's a full moon every month. There's a new moon every month. There's always cycles in our lives, beginning and ending, and cycles that we're still in the middle of. And it's through astrology that we can be cognizant and be consciously aware of what is operating when. And it helps with the timing so that we can consciously work through these and so that we're not like on the Godfather with the freaking what's it called? What's it called? What's it called? The things, you know what I'm saying, the strings. So that's what I'm here to do is empower you through that way is to be like, oh, these planets are not running me. This energy is not running me. This anger, my this feeling of revenge that I want. I'm not being controlled by this. I think oh my god, I just want everyone to be self-empowered. I want everyone to be like free. Okay? So, like I said, there's an awareness of others here that you have to be aware of others. or another person or, the situation, but you'll know what you want. You'll know what you feel. Lean into that. If you can only take your situation so far, then you really need to look back on yourself and feel what you feel and clarify it to yourself. That it's like, okay, the timing's not right. I have this bigger authority that's bearing down on me, either through a person or a situation or an employer or like the cosmos or just some situation that's out of everyone's control. But I'm going to get clear about myself, and I'm going to wait for a better timing. I'm going to wait for a new moon. It's a transit, it will pass. But what you can get out of this is understanding your motives, understanding your feelings. If bitterness and resentment come up for you at this full moon, you can work on that. You can fix that. You can free yourself of that. Resentment is taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Okay? If you are not able to control this resentment, if you're not able to control the hatred and the anger, it's okay. You're going to work through You can work through that consciously. Don't put pressure on yourself to like, do it all right now. It's going to burn. Guys, I never thought I was going to get over my anger issues. Coffee break. I never thought I was going to do it. I felt so bad. I don't know what I was angry about. I was in a Dominick's or a CVS, and like you go out to leave and like the doors are automatic. Like you walk and the doors are automatic and they open, but by the time you're walking and you get to the door, I could tell that I was walking and it wasn't opening, when it wasn't going to open. And like, I don't know, but I like in like King Leonidas in 300, and I just like stomp kicked it and I just flew it open and I was like, rah! And it was just like a whole thing. I feel so bad. I was a teenager. Hormones, okay? Hormones. That was many years ago. I am self-mastered now, okay? I can rechannel negative energy into harmony in any situation, and I have and I do. And it's been a fantastic couple of years. Yay. I promise you guys it's worth it. I promise you it's so worth it. It's so painful and it hurts, and you just like, anger is a secondary emotion. Why does this keep sorry? Anger is a secondary emotion. The first thing you feel is sadness and pain, fears. So, okay, so if you're feeling anger, ask yourself, is someone crossing my boundary? Because that's the purpose that anger serves, is when someone crosses your boundary. Then it's a red flag, and you know that you've got to change things and make something right and make something equal again. Um, but if you're asking yourself, is someone crossing my boundaries, and no one's crossing your boundaries, you got to work on that. And you have to ask yourself, why am I angry then? Why am I feeling this anger? What's it really about? Likewise, if someone is angry with you, if someone's angry at you and you're on the receiving end of some anger and some hatred, ask your if you believe that if you're crossing their boundaries, then of course back off. Of course, honor what they need. Don't argue with them. They feel how they feel, accept how they feel. And I've said this to someone, like, I'm not going to argue your feelings. I validate you, what you feel. I'm not going to rational. And that's the thing, is like, don't rationalize, don't your behavior. Don't come up with excuses. No excuses. If you're hurting people, if you hurt someone, if they feel hurt, let them, give them that space to let them say how they feel. I saw such a great TikTok about a dad that asked his kids if he offended them, to like let it be known. And right away his little girl said, yes, you asked me, you yelled at me when we were trying to leave, and you told me to go look for something, and like it was right in front of me, and she was like 7. And he was just like, in the moment he was rushed, and like they had to go, they had to get in the car, they were already late. But he explains to the TikTok audience, that's not the time to rationalize or come up with excuses. My job as a dad is to just make the pain go away. That's it. So he apologized and they got through it and it was fine. Okay? So if someone's angry with you guys, and probably we're all gonna catch this. Probably like guys, like I've been keeping a low profile. I check in with my mom. Is she okay? But other than that, I've only been communicating with people like if I absolutely have to, because I'm just so like I don't want to catch it. I just want peace, man. I want peace, you know? So if someone's angry with you, focus on rechanneling that energy into harmony. Hold space for them. If you think, however, that their energy, that their anger is projected upon you, if you're not crossing any boundaries, if you can see that if they're like acting like a toddler and you are just a stand in for like their parent that abandoned them, they have mom issues and you're like a feminine dominant energy and you're like, whoa, I have nothing to do with this. And I'm getting all this. You have to probably just put some space and distance and walk away. You have to change your approach. If someone's angry with you and nothing's working, you have to change your approach. You don't bear down. You don't be stubborn about your position. If someone's angry with you, you change your tactic, you change your approach. If you really want harmony. So you have to choose. Are you going to choose love or are you going to choose ego? Because if you choose love, you'll do what that TikTok dude did. If you choose love, you'll change your approach or you'll walk away and let everyone cool down. But if you choose ego, that means you want to prove a point. That means you want to be right. That means you want to change their mind. And that has nothing to do with them and it has nothing to do with the situation or the relationship or harmony because that's you. It's all about you. Okay. All right. Let's move the energy through. Okay. So this T square, this energy is super big and you got to transform it. With the sun involved, there's also your sense of purpose on the line, your sense of self. So that's a good segue for the ego. Your identity, how you're seeing yourself in your relationships, how you're seeing yourself in these situations is changing and it has to change. It has to evolve. So hopefully you feel empowered enough to transform your own identity in a new way without wanting to run away, without like self-sabotaging. Okay. Um, this is, like I said, culminating 6 months of work that you've been doing on some level. And so this is like the last thing that has to change with Pluto being involved. So you've been challenged to evolve from a place of truth and authenticity these past 6 months. Whatever's left over to purge, this is a purging 2 weeks for you guys, for all of us. Whatever's left over to purge will purge now. It's the purge time. So as you've been going along, okay, so some of you who've been watching me, some of you who've been letting go throughout these last 6 months and transforming energy. If you've been transforming energy, alchemizing pain into providence, if you've been rechanneling negative energy into harmony, if you've been practicing that the past 6 months, then this is going to be easier for you because you'll have less to purge. You'll have less to purge and you'll have an easier time of transforming the energy now because you're stronger. You're more spiritually stronger and you've been building up your psychic muscles. You've been working the energy. And so you've gotten used to working with the energy, with tense energy. And so it's still going to be something. It's still going to be something. But you're going to see it for what it is and go, okay, this is it. And you might even feel things coming up, but you'll know what to do and you'll have this you'll have an established pattern of working with your own energy and knowing yourself and being cognizant of what you're feeling. So have you been able to channel and transform negative energy into harmony the past 6 months? Have you been able to balance your energy and your wants and desires with other people's? That's probably been the hardest because it's been very insecure. We've all been feeling like with Chiron and Aries is kind of insecure about standing up for what we want, initiating these new things. How has your attitude changed? Because that's made all the difference. That's made all the difference. If you pump yourself up, now I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Or if you negatively self-talk, if you're just like, I can't do it, I'm gonna run. The past 6 months, it's gonna, okay, you're careful here. And have you been consciously doing it? Have you been consciously working on your attitude? that was probably the hardest thing for me, changing my mind with like depression. Every Capricorn struggles with depression. Um, that was so hard to change my mentality, to change my mind. That was hard. That's like a lifetime of. So be gentle with yourself, be gentle with other people. That's hard. And if you're in a relationship with someone that's not even trying to do any of this, that doesn't care about any of this, that doesn't want to be self-aware, that just wants to push, 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 get what they want, you're not going to get anywhere with them. And don't blame them for that. Don't judge them for that. They're on their own path. We're all here. We're all having to be here. We're all on our own path. So take the high road because you had support that helped align your mind and your actions with that mutual reception. Did you use it? What have you been consciously thinking about and then taking action on the past 6 months? Um, if you did, you could be empowered to accomplish more and be blessed with a partner who may help you. So, this Mars Sun Mercury Cazimi in Libra, there could be a great partner for you. There could be another person to help you negotiate with. You could meet like a great business partner, a lawyer, a litigating professional, a great doctor. You can align yourself with like a great healthcare professional, someone that like helps you make something come true, a cherished dream come true. That helps. There could be a great partner that's there that you've earned, that did the work. Um, that's if you did, if you've been okay. But if not, your hand may be forced, and that's where it's going to feel like unfair. But what feels unfair, and how do you really feel, and why do you feel certain things, and what do you know? Like you may have like a lot to analyze of your own feelings, and that's okay. Give yourself the space and time to do that. Because if you do feel resentful, if you are feeling here's the thing about resentment, and this goes back to what I said on this week's psychic astrology about like mothers and the time and the needs. This full moon in Aries is about honoring your own needs. So are you right now feeding your own needs? Because when you don't, you resent, and that's very painful. It's very painful to be a child growing up with a single mom who resents you because they have not met their own needs or gotten their own needs met. It's like, it's horrible. It's so painful to be married to someone who hates you because they don't advocate for their own needs and they don't get their own needs met. It's painful. It's like entrapment. You're trapped. It's painful to be. It's painful. It's whatever form of relationship it is. It's painful to be in a business partnership where they're not taking care of themselves, or they have something else going on, or they don't have confidence, or they're stingy, or they are obstinate. They don't open their mind up. It's painful. That resentment that builds is painful. It compromises the bond. It hurts that bond. It's painful. It's horrible. That's the real horror film of Halloween 2021. So, are you feeding your own needs? Don't worry about anybody. Cover your needs first, and then you can answer to, and you can be aware of that other person. The moon squaring Pluto tempts you, and you're going to see this people to manipulate other people and manipulate others to manipulate the situation to get their needs met. If someone doesn't take care of their own needs, they're going to be tempted to manipulate you, manipulate the situation to get their own needs met instead of starting with themselves, instead of going within. And especially if like money's involved or business is involved, then they like extend that projection into a stinginess or a lack mentality or a greediness, or and that's low vibration of the earth signs of Taurus, of Capricorn, of Virgo, of the material realm. um you know like toxic forms of leadership is when you lead through fear and coercion and bullying and manipulation. And that's part of what's falling down right now. I'm not going to get into the mundane astrology, but you guys will see it in your lives. people trying to strong arm each other. And think of the past 6 months when people have been doing that for you, trying to manipulate you or the situation to get their emotional needs met. You probably resent this person. And that could break. That bond could totally snap because of some outside force beyond your control. So if you think you want to hold on to that, you think you want to hold on to that family connection, you think you want to hold on to that romantic connection, you think you want to hold on to that business connection, you don't. Not if there's this crisis culminating and breaking it apart. We manifest crises from our subconscious awareness so that our conscious mind can work through it and deal with it and arrive at a more mature state of being. That's what it's all about. So you want to rechannel any negative energy and find and create safety and security within yourself. When you have a T square for my astrology students, you go to the opposite end of that T square, Pluto and Capricorn, which is Cancer. So you want to generate feelings of inner security. You want to generate feelings of inner safety, emotional security, before expecting others to meet your emotional needs, before going into that business meeting, before going into the family party, before going into the romantic thing. You take care of yourself first. You generate your own feelings of safety and security so that you don't hurt someone else. And someone that doesn't take responsibility for that, with whatever YouTube videos, tarot videos, spirituality TikToks or therapy, whatever the thing is, they're like they're twisting in the wind. They're lost. The definition of like lost souls. It's not your responsibility. Don't take that on. Last but not least, you guys, the Mars squaring Pluto is creating cravings and instincts and compulsions. This is very like oh, Michelle, thank you. Thanks, guys. This Mars square Pluto, they're actually, I picked up psychically that they are working together. It's not going to look that way. You're going to have like, I would say like primal needs that you're discovering, primal human, visceral, maybe even physical needs that you are discovering within yourself. And that may cause some stress in your psyche with your subconscious mind meeting your conscious mind. And you have to work through that. Don't judge it though. Don't judge whatever you're feeling and thinking. Be aware of it, be observant, because you are not your feelings and your thoughts. Do not put your ego and identity into those things. You're the entity, you're the consciousness observing the thoughts as they go by, observing the feelings as they rise and pass and fall. I want you guys to take your power back here, okay? So the conflicting cravings and instincts and compulsions are conflicting because the healthy ones are coming up against the toxic ones. And that's what's part of this crumbling. So you're breaking free of it, but it just might happen traumatically. The more traumatic or the bigger the crises that's happening over these next 2 weeks, it's really since Monday, is really going to be dependent on how you've been consciously working through this since the Aries new moon over the past 6 months. So the bigger the crisis, the bigger the catharsis. Oh, now I'm quoting Inception. But there's still going to be something to purge. So you're going to have either a big crisis or you're going to have like a little crisis. But like I said, it'll blow, but then it's going to calm down. It's going to be okay. And I'm telling you, take care of this now and take care of yourself now, because this November 4th new moon, and then we're heading into eclipse season, and then we're heading into Venus retrograde for 6 months in Capricorn, going to meet up with Pluto, and then we're going to go into the last Uranus Saturn square, and then we're going to be in 2022, which is a whole other big bag of planetary energy. So just telling you guys, everything's changing. Of course it is, but I want you guys to be empowered to get your win-win, okay? All right, guys, I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna eat something and then eat a little bit more, have a little bit more of this and that, and then I will be back for the Patreon, and I'm gonna do this in 2 videos. The first 6 signs, the first 6 signs, because it's an Aries full moon, and then the next 6 signs, and then I'm gonna do tarot for all the 12 zodiac signs, and I'm gonna give you the personalized preview of everyone's Scorpio new moon and how to play out this full moon for your zodiac sign so that you can be guided and do a good brand new. I want you to hit the ground running in November, okay? For the November 4th new moon in Scorpio, I will also be covering crypto, crypto stuff. So, if you guys are into that, join me over on Patreon. The links are down there in the description box below. If you guys want more on this, check out the new moon in Aries video I did, that live stream. The link is down there as well. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Watch Natalie. I post a lot of little goodies and little. I'm funny. I'm really funny. So if you guys like to laugh, give me a follow. I follow you back. And I love to connect with you guys. I love doing this. I love this, and I love movies and film. Like that's my jam. So if you guys love this spirituality stuff and movies and film, let's connect. I love you guys. Take really good care. Remember, Astrology 101 is tomorrow. Psychokinesis and Telekinesis Thursdays is tomorrow. Until next time, my loves, many, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah.